It is important. We have a unique county. The vast majority of the citizens in this county appreciate the fact that we don't want to be a Destin. We don't want to be a Panama City. We don't want a casino. We don't want the skyline blocked with buildings. Plain and simple. We have a beautiful facility there. An argument was made earlier that who's going to pay for it if it gets knocked down. Well, Commissioner Salter, when there's a bunch of condominiums up there and they get knocked down, federal government and me has to pay for it. I want the least amount that we can possibly have on that beach rather than the most amount. I'll make my comments brief. I want to thank the three of you again. I appreciate that. Our children and our children's children, and down the road, that will be the showplace of the United States of America if left alone. Thank you for your time.
I've lived here for about 10 years now. We love the beach. We live in Navarre. We go there for picnics. Where else can you go in this area that you can go in a nice pavilion along the beach and have picnics? You go to Okaloosa Island. You go to Destin. You can't hardly get on the beach unless you go through a restaurant, a condo, or a hotel. I have a granddaughter that just moved down here with a great-grandbaby. She loves the beach, and the baby loves the beach. They live in Fort Walton. They come clear to Navarre to go to the beach because it's almost
my view on this is everything was going along just fine. All of a sudden, without the public's knowledge, it all just goes sort of haywire. Something sounds a little fishy, but still, I think it needs to, if it's just important to everybody, it needs to be brought before a vote for the whole county wide, not just a handful of people deciding, because those handful of people can be bought out. And I think that if we just need to relax, kick back and wait, ain't in no hurry, ain't nothing been going on for a long time. I just honestly think it needs to be left alone. The beach is what's so beautiful out there. People come and visit us. You can take a picture both ways, and it's just beautiful. We don't need to change that. We don't need to see. If we need to build something so spectacular, why don't we go on up to Allentown or Shamoka, where there's a bunch of wasteland, and build these things.
Mr. Chairman.
And we're here because we're concerned about the proposed areas in question, which includes the park where we attend classes daily. And between the four of us, we have educated over 2,000 students, and we've accumulated hundreds of community service hours out at the park. In addition to teaching younger students about ocean conservation, we have planted hundreds of sea oats all throughout the park. We have worked extremely hard in effort to preserve and maintain sea turtle nests on Navarre Beach. And I have firsthand seen a sea turtle nest hatch, and it's an absolutely amazing and beautiful experience. And if the nesting area is taken away, the sea turtle hatchlings will be directly affected, and people in future generations won't be able to see how great of an experience it is and won't be able to actually see that happen. The area is very special and unique to Florida. Few places remain in our country that are so preserved and so diverse. Our ecosystem is so unique, and teaching the community children and helping to educate them about the importance of preserving our beaches is what we do. It's the park and all the area around that is our classroom, and we want it to be there for future generations to appreciate and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming up. My position, as on Monday, is that the language in the joint resolution, which this board approved unanimously in November should not be changed. We had significant public input in October and November on the issue and voted to preserve our parks and recreation land in accordance with the master plan that was adopted in 2001. None of the facts have changed since then. Nothing has come to light that was not discussed back then. The master plan was developed through a lengthy public input process. Since then, in my mind, there's even more reason to ensure that the park remains a park. The Navarre Beach Park is as pristine a section of beach as you'll find on the island. I'm not against development on Navarre Beach in any way or for anything that would hinder its economy. I live in Gulf Breeze, but I work in Navarre and have for the last 10 years. I own property in Navarre. I know the arguments that we need more hotels, more restaurants in Navarre, and I agree. The thing is, there's already room for those developments on the beach without jeopardizing the future of our park. I did a quick check and found 5 large parcels totaling over 60 acres on the beach that are currently vacant and privately owned. That does not count small parcels of less than 5 acres each, of which there are quite a few. The choice to me is whether we commit to having a world-class destination park on Navarre Beach, go after grants to improve our pavilions and other infrastructure for public use, support the Marine Science Center, and ensure that the next generation and the one after that has something special, or do we want to eventually turn that land over to private hands? We have the opportunity to preserve a unique asset, and I think we should do just that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Welcome to Santa Rosa Week TV.
And we are so happy that you've decided to carve out 30 minutes of your precious time to watch me, the buffoon, and whatever category Deborah wants to be today.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
Well, I just try to beat her to the punch, folks, because normally off camera there are many epitaphs that are thrown my way that don't make the airing of Santa Rosa Week TV.
We have a strict...
I want to take a moment to tell you how important it is to be involved in politics in the county in which you live. Sometimes you may wonder, why should I help a candidate or support a candidate or work with a candidate or put out signs for a candidate or talk to my friends and family about a candidate? Well, we had an opportunity this week that has made all of the hours, days, and years that I have put into making sure that we have people that will make good decisions for the people on the Board of County Commissioners. It paid off this week. And go ahead, Deborah, what was the topic?
Well, we had a kerfuffle over basically the future of the state park area and some other public areas on the beach. Basically, the future of public access on Navarre Beach was the issue. As you know, both Escambia and Santa Rosa commissioners are currently trying to get title authority over the land from the federal government. Right now, the federal government owns it. They officially lease it, and then the county sublease it out to people. They're usually 99-year leases, but it's not fee simple title the way you'd normally own land. So they're trying to get that authority from the federal government. We had a series of public meetings. People got up and spoke. The number one thing that people said was make sure that public access to the beach is preserved. And so there was a joint county commission session with both the Escambia and the Santa Rosa County Commissions, and they agreed we're gonna send this proposed legislation through Representative Jeff Miller up to the U.S. Congress, and we're going to say in the proposed language that the areas that are currently
For public access and environmental,
and conservation recreation, most of them are zoned that way, will remain that way forever. And what they did was they basically froze it at the 2001 Navarre Beach Master Plan.
Right.
Everything that was marked as public there.
And look, here's the important thing for you to know about public access. Now, I work with a fellow, and he decided to make a trip to Destin, Florida for a weekend vacation. And when he came back, I asked him, I said, how was the beach? He said, well, it was pretty nice after I paid $5 to walk through the lobby of the hotel to get to the beach.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. And so they said, okay, we'll freeze it at that 2001 master plan level. Well, several weeks before Santa Rosa County was going to sign off on the final sign off, one of the commissioners, Commissioner Jim Melvin, said, well, wait a minute, that's not flexible enough. We need to be able to change that in the future. Let's freeze it let's not freeze it according to the master plan. Let's allow it to evolve as the master plan
Let's
evolves.
leave it open to the Wild West.
Well, right, which basically means any future commission could say, well, we don't really need parkland anymore. My buddy wants to buy this for $20,000 or whatever, and put a whatever on it.
It's just like I've said many times. I envision that there was a meeting in Destin, Florida in the early 80s, and a guy stood up and said, come on, fellas, I'm only talking about one condominium.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where we were heading.
Well, they introduced this new language then at their Monday County Commission meeting, and we're all set to vote on it Thursday. And the way it was looking was, basically the heck with you with the people who stood up and said this is unacceptable.
And folks, I want to take a minute. Deborah is certainly not the type of person who needs a lot of patting on the back about a job well done.
That's true.
But I'm going to say, as the president of the League of Women Voters, she put out a press release. I heard that it made it to planet Mars.
It went out to a lot of people.
It went to the moon. It went to several celestial bodies, along with school board members, elected officials, clubs, all the media, the whole 9 yards. And it really emphasized the importance of public access. Now, and I've been thinking to myself about this. My children, right now, they don't know how important that is. There's a lot of folks in Santa Rosa County that do not realize how important that single vote was.
Yeah.
Over public access, guaranteed that no one will be able to finagle, that the folks with the bus loads of money will not be able to buy off and entice elected officials to sell some of that property.
Now this is provided this legislation goes through Congress and this becomes federal law. If that happens, and provided they do what they're supposed to be doing and they keep the same language in there, then yes, those areas will be preserved forever, which is what the people want.
Right. Well, look, you can't. You know the age-old argument is well the beach always belongs to the people.
Yeah.
But it's access to the beach.
Right.
Absolutely. The federal law says that the median tide, so many feet north of the median tide, the winter time, so many feet is public access. Well, if you have to be dropped in by a helicopter to enjoy the beach that belongs to us, the citizens, that's not right.
Yeah.
And look, this whole thing. Look, trust me on this. I have worked for many years on the public access issue. The state of Florida took the Eastern Mile and said we're going to make it a park. So, okay, that argument's over with. All I ever wanted, I'd like some additional places in Santa Rosa County, but it was very important to me that 1 mile free from development.
Right.
I'm okay with a small convenience store, a place to get a Coke, maybe buy a sandwich at. I'm okay with that. And I would like to see a hotel down there. But that's it. And then all of a sudden the state of Florida says, no, we're going to give this thing back to you. Well, and I've been worried about it since then.
Yeah.
And
This is the park area. You're
the park,
talking about,
the
yeah.
Eastern Mile, and finally, and I am very proud to say that Lane Lynchard had his speech ready.
Yeah. He was against it from the
He
word
was
get-go.
firmly in favor of maintaining
Public access.
public access.
Yeah.
Bob Cole was firmly for public access, and Jim Williamson believed that there was enough movement within the 2001 master plan.
Yeah.
That for example, folks, I mean, and this only makes sense if we put something in that all citizens have access to, then the master plan allows the county to put some infrastructure in for that.
Yeah. It's
What-
conservation recreation is a land use,
Right.
and that allows them to put structures in that are
Right.
as long as it's public, public.
And that's
access.
fine as long as it's for everybody to use.
Right.
What I have always feared is Destin, Florida.
Right.
A solid wall
Condos.
of 25-story monstrosities, which the average wage-earning person cannot afford to even stay in one of those
It's
condominiums.
disgusting to have to look at that on the beach. It's absolutely,
You know.
it's just disgusting to even look at it.
So, just as I said at the county commission meeting, I thank Commissioner Lynchard, I thanked Bob Cole, and I thank Jim Williamson for standing tall in the saddle.
And none of them technically voted against that, because by the time they took the vote,
Well, yeah,
they had so many people. And here's the thing: is it was looking bad on Monday. On Tuesday, the press release from the League of Women Voters went out to the community. So then you had Wednesday, and by Thursday, we had so many people show up. We had some high school students
Right.
and people from Navarre throughout the community show up and say, this is just unacceptable to try to sneak this through.
Right.
At that point, I think they understood that
Right. And
the cat was out of the bag.
and look, and I am going to have a conversation with Commissioner Melvin over this very issue. I'm going to state publicly for the record that I was disappointed in what Commissioner Melvin tried to do here. I think he was convinced in his mind, in his own mind, that he was doing the right thing, but we have seen it over and over and over. Money always changes people's minds, and when millions of dollars start flowing, and one of the things that Commissioner Salter wanted to throw around, well, we need to have a source of revenue so we can rebuild what we have now. And I went forward and I said, well, if we let it get covered up with buildings, who's going to pay for all that when it gets knocked down?
Yeah.
You're looking at it because it's federal flood dollar, federal federal flood insurance that's going to fix most of that stuff.
Well, and one lady stood up and said, put in a 50-cent toll and charge for parking like every other park in America does.
Well, I am of the opinion that I do kind of like usage fees.
Yeah.
In this case, for the Eastern Mile, I don't have a problem if they want to throw $1 on that, and call it for upkeep of the Eastern Mile and future replacement of the bridge down there.
There's also a large section north of White Sands Boulevard that has a lagoon and some very mature dunes. It's got old magnolias on there. There's a mullet hatchery. It's really beautiful. It's a ecological gem. Right. And that will be protected too. Right. That's about 60 acres.
Yeah, and look, it's just now, setting in to me. I will be able to say, I didn't make it happen, but I did play a little role in it, and I'll be able to tell my children, and I'll be able to tell my grandchildren, you see here, this is for you forever.
Right.
And
it's also some parking areas, a bunch of parking areas.
Right, which is really needed.
Yeah.
Navarre is a family destination, and there's a lot of folks that make day trips. During fishing season, I make a lot of day trips down there.
Right.
To get to the pier. So
this is just this particular legislation trip through Congress. If for some reason this doesn't work out, and they've tried it before, and then they start this process all over again, it'll be another battle.
Yeah.
Because then we'll have to go back and make sure they don't try to rewrite it in, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
The one thing that I was really impressed with was Grover Robinson when they had the joint meeting. I counted it 5 times.
This is Escambia County
Commissioner. Escambia County Commissioner. 5 times Grover Robinson repeated his exact speech over. We're going to do this. We have outlined specifically what will be public access protected, recreational protected, and environmental protected.
Let's keep in mind, though, that Escambia has already junked up most of their beach.
Well, they have.
And there was a lot more here in Santa Rosa County that was, potentially these developers would be drooling over.
Right.
And that's why they wanted to change our language.
Well, I am just, like I said in the beginning, folks, many years of hard work paid off with the right kind of vote. That's been a huge issue.
I want to disagree with you there a little bit. I think what paid off was the fact that citizens bothered to show up.
Well, oh, absolutely.
That's what makes a difference every time. Is you got to have what you like to call the angry mob. People underestimate the influence of the angry mob. And this is such a basic issue that everyone agrees on.
Well,
public access to the beach.
But it was a good day for the citizens. Hopefully this thing gets on through the Congress. Then we will have, there's other areas, but the big gem in it of it all is 1 mile protected for the citizens to use through infinity. And
and other areas, and parking areas, and some other areas too.
And personally, and I know Deborah is the same. I'm ecstatic about it. I am glad that we finally came to this day. I was kind of worried because I've watched Panama City, I've watched Fort Walton Beach, I've watched Destin, Florida, I've watched Orange Beach, on and on.
I wouldn't get comfortable yet.
Oh,
there's a lot of room for the deal to be screwed up.
We will forever stay vigilant on this until I see about 212 yays in Congress.
Right.
But we believe we're headed firmly in the right direction, and we hope you believe the same. So, and folks, as we leave the air today, we want to recognize recently it's Martin Luther King Day, and Deborah hustled on out there.
I was at the Milton Parade.
At the Milton Parade with the camera, and we hope you enjoy the footage of the celebration for Martin Luther King.
Go, you got that! Wait! Give me that beat! Gang! 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go! Oh, a fishing stick! Close enough! I believe!
I don't need one. Hey guys.
I wanted that. Look at it.
selected to use them. And reveal classroom discrimination.